Sanibonani bafethu, and this is your boy Ntariyana, aka Mr. Soweto aka Mr. Cool himself. Welcome to KOTA N CHILL bafethu, welcome to a PSE channel, welcome Football, and welcome to Vodacom, my muse. Namhlanje I'm out here representing the youth. Yes, Soweto by the way. So ngihamba no NHLANHLA LUX.
Money.
Mangiphethe Commander Sibagezi ubebebe Lux. Sibagezi ubebebe. Yabo? Ngaba ngiphethe ukhotmani la Jeep Nation. Iparty ke namhlanje bafethu, iparty yamaSulumane. So makhotmani lami.
Sibonge.
Konje wena sikubulisa kanjani Commander Monday?
Yeah, Money.
Commander,
yeah,
this
Money.
Commander.
Yeah.
Siyabonga ukuthi uzile
so
platform
sure.
khotmani lami.
Sure.
It's quite an honor to even touch your head. Khotmani lami elintswemba wena mphila na every day. If they care to know. So makhotmani wami, today is going down. Today we're not talking about piano, we're not talking music, we are talking black culture, we're talking politics.
Sure.
So a short bio for NHLANHLA LUX, then it's jumping Vuyojeeper.
Yeah, look, I think first of all, it's a pleasure for me just to be podcasting. It's easily anything that is home based is an opportunity for expression. It's not easy. You know, media censored too much, media sponsored too much. Narratives are being put out there. I mean, a person in Germany knows Soweto to be what they were told, not what Soweto really is. So when you have our own platforms, then we can express who we really are without depending on others to define who we are. So for that, big ups, and the rest of the team, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Adding to what Ukhotmani show bafethu, the system, ngokubona kwami, if unasazi izinto bona bafuna ukuthi sizazi.
Yeah, sure.
That's why you have amakhotmani njengabo NHLANHLA LUX abazongitshela izinto engingazazi.
Yeah.
Asibangene kayi. Khotmani lami wena ngathini abantwini bethu.
Exactly, Ntariyana. So these platforms, remember, we were used to traditional TV. They're showing what you must know, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're doing our thing, uncensored, unscripted, spagamisicasi, the way we know and the way we live it. Do you understand?
Sure.
No limitations.
Yazi makhotmani wami asithathe sifakele emandleni yabo. Now we're talking business. So asifakele emandleni. The biggest topic currently is elections.
Yeah.
Elections are on the way. KOTA N CHILL is a platform that runs Soweto. So everything that we're going to speak about now, abantu bazo-Soweto bazo-Sowetans nayo.
Yeah.
So politics, elections. Before elections, let's talk the rules of the law. Before we vote, do you think these politician groups, they still apply in the rules of the law?
Look, I tell you what, you've never seen a politician being arrested. The biggest problem of any country in Africa, forget our country, is corruption. We know that as a fact, but there's no consequence, there's no accountability, there's no one who's ever been jailed for corruption. Who's in jail right now? No. Quickly, tell me who. I mean, they can create stories pretending to exercise accountability and speak about ex-politician, but at the end of the road, there's never accountability. So I don't think politicians ever respected the rule of law. We are sitting now, our relatives that Kosan City Dragon, when Antwana Taruna Fahlagilweng for Patula Nama ko Shoprite. Di Fahlagilo spal, no criminal record. Ko Dragon no, sing Mawa no. When Albo Sister Baro Naba Fahlagitwing or Patula Nen for a gang of Silbase, no. Politician patuting boma 2 billion, but thing not you go to buy your postela I like it. I understand. Yes, so to answer your question, politicians never ever respected the rule of law, number one. And by the way, you must also just check the depth of what it means to be a politician. What it means to be a politician is the ability to sing a struggle song. There's no real credentials to being a politician. You can make a decision now, you're a politician. Membership ya ANC, ya DA or ya EFF. You are now a politician without perhaps an office. Once you get in office, uba councillor, uba mo committee inside councillor, wakala no sole politician elungori, you are getting paid for being a politician. There's no real credential, there's no real struggle. There's no one that struggled here. They all just sing political songs, and then ba chuter, ba vutele vie, ba spina batba. In fact, there is a difference between politician and mutho ya njozi. I mean, I was so it was a choosy mina. Mutho ya njozi in fact. Okay, politician, but to our spin, let me tell you, let me put it in simple terms. Politicians profit from our people's poverty. Their real profit is the poverty of our people. If people become liberated, educated, and economically liberated, there's no room for politics. because then people exercise their own muscle, be it intellectual muscle or economic muscle. Right now, I did Robert Saspani, we rely on someone at Kenya, because we're not independent. Well, we depend on the system. And for the system to function and the system to keep going, it requires us to remain dependent. So we can never ever have a system of politics that advocates and truly advocates for the proper liberation of our people, because that means it's the death of politics. And it's that simple. And that's why politics will make sure that the education system remains nonsense, so that the outcome of the average person in South Africa is one person that can't think for themselves, that depends on the system. I mean, just think about it right now. Everything that we do, that's a basic need, is dependent on politicians. Right now, we don't have electricity. You don't know what to do with that problem. You can't solve it yourself. It doesn't matter how much you mobilize. Remote decay, we know that Motike kilo wale nearly a year without electricity. But you see that if it's up to me, I would actually encourage the young people that are coming after us, not to learn a single struggle song. Because if we teach these kids struggle songs, we're then saying that their future has a struggle that they must normalize. Exactly. The kids in Sandton are not being taught struggle songs, they're being taught coding. So to hell with any struggle song that you can think of. I actually get disgusted when I find myself in a crowd singing a struggle song, because it's what my mother did, it's what my grandfather did. That means there's no generational growth in black communities. There must be a difference. Sure.
Yes. Urhulumeni lakho ukhulumile, urhulumeni lami kahle kahle ngizobe i-coast yami. So ungakwazi ukuela kwele nto eshila but
what I'm saying, politics to me is like church.
Yeah.
Our mothers used to go to church and they never did anything. We just glorified Mfundisi. In this case, we're glorifying the government. No, we need to stand up as the community, as the people. We need to be our own politician. So the government that is in charge, next, but we need to stand up and make sure we need to stand up and make sure Amapoto are amended. Those things can be done. You don't need politicians to do it for us, understand? Because now you'll wait years. As Maslangana as a committee, we decide okay, perfect. Let's fix it rather than waiting three months for you can't, Chief. We need to stand up and make the change. We are the change, you understand? So lento ukuthi sizolinda government, you wait forever, Chief. And isikhathi siyavaya generation iyahamba, you understand? We need to change the narrative. We need fear was for our mothers. Isikhathi sethu manje, there's nothing. So we know where to knock. We understand? Government is just an opportunity for people to eat money. So whether you vote or not, you're voting for another party that's going to be in charge and eating money. They know what they're there for a period, so they're going to maximize state capture and eat all the money for that period, and the next they are out, you understand? So yeah,
so coming to add, I feel like black people are more dependent than being independent.
Exactly.
We that's why we preach the gospel so much, because we want to run away from poverty, but we don't have a solution of breaking the poverty. We want pastor to take us out of poverty.
That's why I would see I don't know, stereotype. How can we go to Pastor Yasimalawi, izokutshela ukuthi idli petrol, drink grass, whatever shit like that, you understand? Imagine, instead of standing up and looking for a job, or instead of being an entrepreneur, you're so doing your tandaza, Pastor Panda, so that your financial struggles can be eased. Never, Chief. You need to stand up and work. You need to stand up and go look for a span. Don't pray. Black people who are too much on our knees. I'm not saying prayer is a bad thing, Chief, but at some stage we need to stand up and go. You can't just pray and sing for this span, Chief. You have to pray and you have to you understand?
It's simple.
It's simple because prayer goes along with action.
Good work,
no, 100%.
So let's go deeper about the rules of the last bang food.
Yeah, look, for me this thing is simple, you know. If you just study just basic South African history, you then realize that since 1994, when the country started, because we basically started our democratic,
94.
and our democracy 94.
Yeah.
Sheba Soweto, but like I'm looking around, there isn't anything that government has done. What I'm looking at was here in 1994. It's even worse. Okay, maybe KOTA N CHILL PODCAST 94. It wasn't built by government.
Yes, sir.
Deep Square, it wasn't built by government. Show me anything that the government has done here, 1994, to date. You can't point it out. Para.
Yes, sir.
So we can't repeat the same thing over and over again and expect a difference.
Yeah.
We are being told, hey, man, what's a political cycle? 5 years, 5 years?
Exactly.
Every 4 or 5 years, we must go out and vote. Repeat the same thing over and over again. For what difference? There's no difference. As far as I can remember, full time. Dragging into it's a myth. Like I keep ignoring you. One told. Pela rona drag ya khola ne le marwaeza. Marwaeza. Ula di twa ya kontu. Cricket. But now when you fast forward 30 years later, when power is in the hands of our people, then it's even worse. It's even worse to such an extent that it's normal, like you were saying earlier on off camera. It's normal ubona hlanya mokas. Like it was normal. But now my contributing statement here is that it's simply all surrounded by, or all because of what you just presented. We're hoping for a Superman to come and save us. That's why we go to church, because church gives you an illusion of something or someone. There's some mystical energy that is going to bounce around and come into your community and save your community, which is a lie. We all need to get up. I mean, if sister gets raped now, we're in all conditioned to call someone to help her.
Yeah, police.
Yeah, that's someone. That remains to be someone.
Yes.
So that means that we don't have power amongst ourselves to make sure that we get her correct, back on track. So if Nakya Kawatea, that means no one here has the power and legal power to help me. Because from a law's point of view, if you fall now, the law says I mustn't touch you. And it's no chance I I mustn't touch you. But Shaka Koni no, varvar, sharp. Familiar, it can even sue me for even trying to take you to bar.
Yeah.
That's how twisted life is now. But Pezafo, Nero level was bali because you just made a difference. You tried to save his life. But now everything is flipped. And I think it started when we lost the values of our African values that we had when our grandparents were alive. I mean, it's not I could win to have 500 years back. Ki want to within our lifetime. Families were tight knit. Boma koko ba bora re lwanela di family even nna le wena re gotseng kaofela re shana ka dikoni for the family for madlala bo makoko. The biggest problem in the township right now, any township for that matter, is the family house. Have you ever heard it being discussed in parliament?
No.
The answer is no. And let me tell you, it's not an underlying issue, it's a real issue. When na batho ba fatlagilweng ko dragon ko lokop nka di bitsa kaofela di prison se. When na batho ba fatlagilweng for madlala ko bona. How many houses do you see these probably not for sale? It's a real problem in the hood, but it's never been discussed by government. Let me tell you why the politicians don't speak about this, because it doesn't affect them. The politicians never spoke about electricity in Deep Kloof when the people of Deep Kloof didn't have electricity for a year. Why? It didn't affect them. They live in Hyde Park and Bryanston. They're only now marching for electricity because load shedding affects Sentin too. Because their kids can't play FIFA after school. No, we must close the country. That's why because when you struggle in real life, you are nowhere to be found. But when the struggle has anything to do with your own kids, then you want to mobilize us to come and protect. But what they're doing is saying that politician FIFA. Our struggles are different. Because makoko tlamela akenye insulin momo fridging. But makoko ba rona ba diabetic because our diet is nonsense malnutrition. So we need to actually start having a serious intellectual conversation amongst ourselves, and that's why I appreciate this platform, because ntwana tsa kasi di tla utla first hand kasi tu kasi re ngala eng abo aba you go TV say polish to na le cut camera action ona cut camera action
rolling here, bro.
I mean he rebitsa the wheeling ka te. So if you see radi and le teng a spy okay ba bona okay le selling right etsa ntho le na go fatla gile ne ke na le emergency ne re bua ntho tsamaya ne re bontshe tsamaya ma chance o na le o mongwe peletseng a re sebale sheba KOTA ka veile grand se ba tlotlo mashaka line ne re discussa da ibile se klebes ne re discussa community development community development selling lena ne se klebes. But you see, whenever we have an opportunity to come together, it's an opportunity to free the future. Whether re 3 ntang or re 4, churches start normally a kereke qala ke batho ba 10, give it a year ke batho ba 100. So anything might seem small. This podcast might seem small, and ke bua the way linkate bo MacG'S bo mamang ka fela podcast tse ding tsa spotjwa ke tsa spotjwa sta manete podcast tseo man for ba child ke chilo the way linkate a sta manete podcast tseo, because the podcast tse by di tlisa batho ba tlo reng apela ka batho ba bang without real direction. If o sheba podcast nna ke ba fethu a ke na problem MacG'S ibile ke amnganyo MacG'S ko chile var mara ke sheba substance ke shebile podcast ke na nne ngosenyane shebile podcast podcast fela ngosenyane leve a e tlotswela pele jwang wanthola ke jwang. So there's no real substance that's connected to the hood that can liberate some of the young people watching. Instead ba khalisa it's like if ka ice cream mo ka ka sekse bang rona broto ke ntwetsalang ba sheba Instagram. So our podcast is actually Instagram yang Kenya na personal lobo. So I'm taking a shot at my chance ke bua var the way ka teng if baslem ba tla eng ka idea ba khutlisa back to the way ne re nganya ka teng re tseba ka teng wanthola. But mo ke leng teng no ke KOTA N CHILL nka tshela no ke mo iming ho feta batho ba mannete hi a re ko SABC studios wanthola ke tshojwa re tsa ntwa mannete re nga ntho tsa mannete. That's why ke fatela blind podcast ke fatela le MacG'S ka fela. I mean it's one of the only expressions the township has, because otherwise everyone else is defining us. And if we batla thola wetsa la ring box ro chilo re a re lentswele so le minang a re so a re dragon a re wika dragon re bua ka Sun City wanthola ke tshore mara lo vile locationing then I get out ke politics ya ke spotchweng re bua ntho ya manete
because in politics basically politicians they loot from Soweto.
Sure.
Soweto makes the world.
Let me tell you something. So Soweto, anything that starts in Soweto will resonate to the whole country. But not something might start from Northwest and with all due respect, Northwest or any other place in Lada. So even if something is ko Northwest, tlamele izwakale Soweto, and then ebe khutlela Northwest as a finished product. Soweto, we've got this amazing responsibility. And even when we're fighting against apartheid, Soweto was the base and home of the fight. Mandela had to leave Kutlwano ko Eastern Cape or atlo base mo Soweto ebe Mandela. Otherwise they never Mandela na koma ko ferda.
Mandela made Soweto.
Yeah, nka tshela bona ka fela. Nka tshela le impeti ka fela bona batho ba nka ba name, but I don't want us to name drop set re trendela di name dropping. Let's keep to the substance just keep it clean, sure.
Yeah, because me as a youth, judging to my own perspective, things I see in the hood, things I see that are happening in the hood. Us as youth, because me, I'm here standing for the youth.
Sure.
You understand? Sure. I speak what the youth has to speak.
Sure.
You understand? So
skip.
Save it. So as a youth, we lack unity.
Sure.
As a youth, we lack unity. The biggest killer in Soweto is not poverty or drugs. The biggest killer in Soweto is education, knowledge, wisdom. That thing we lack there.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's why I was on 12 up here drugs, because I got no direction.
Sure.
It starts from the top. If your leader is basically we are leaderless.
Yeah.
Imagine if the government can start Nama border, close borders, strict control borders. No one must just come in the country and do as they please. You understand? That would be irreparable effect to everything. Pelamanje, the reason we don't have power, we're gonna lose power in the next hour or two, load shedding, is because partly they cannot supply. The demand is too much for greed. You understand? There's 20 shacks in this house. You understand? Bonkeba like Tamahit. Those are people who are here illegally.
Yeah.
Those are foreigners. You understand?
Fact.
You go to Nando's. I was reading the other day. Some girl had to amend the CV at Zimbabwean just to get his money.
Yeah, and that's disgusting.
How ridiculous is that? Because I need to buy as Gucci. They take anything in the payan. They can start you, but you're just gonna end on tips. You understand? Just to be a waitress. Why I'm from Zimbabwe or whatever.
Bulawayo.
You understand? Just to be accepted. So So lento ikala at the top. If phela load shedding bengekho 94, why is it here right now?
Yeah.
It's because since 10, since 30,
Sure.
You understand? And imagine a substation cannot supply us all. You understand? So that's the problem. So people are greedy. They are not working in my borders. They are putting people in my church. That's why this problem is not going to stop now. It was supposed to be stopped there, and then obviously they need to update Amakridu as well. But 94 there was no load shedding. You know that.
No, 100%. Sure.
You understand?
Yeah.
Adding on what he said, you want to add?
Yeah, I can easily add. Look, I'm not on. Let's simplify this so that lintwana tsa rona tse sayang scale because ntse re bua ka re problem ke education. So are ring or ntwana rona yutlwe le se stero mametseng.
Sure.
But you can't go play for the national team if like tiski kasia. Badlali bafana if I mean mamela chaka if you're not the best in your community, you can't be the best in the country. Tlamelo tsalo shots tsa kasia. E bo shots province, bo shots country.
Exactly.
Let's take it to politics. Everyone that's sitting in that parliament, I want to buy tuning good Castabon. Artkalega president, Kyocherona Mosoweto. Marak Akia Kokasia, Moye and Akulila Mosoweto. When I was named by two Mukasiwan or Ringway. So utafeta drug joang South Africa ka ofela pala ke kasia. Scotland chaela man. Nka isa libo Julius ka ofela ka Shego. The last time check my Instagram, the last time Nicholas Shego. Kasia Julius straight. Ke kurile o tshitsa di drugs ra di fahla. Ne tlamele ke tswe because batho ba bankelela ka da ba re mpeto kopa tlo re thusa mpeto drug dlala bana ka yi. Ra shakolo ra khupuka ra ka da. Ra khura le bona ke ntwenyana. Kani a chosbal. Kani a chosho. Rakural bona boma kokobar no ta at least hauna le resistance. It can't just be a walk in the park for drug dealers. You know what I mean? So even if you know they'll come back in 2 weeks because we are back in Soweto, but at least unale resistance. Lubana batseba man, it's not an easy thing for us to do. So the point that I'm driving home is that if politicians were never tested here and they don't have a case study of what they've done in their communities, you can't trust them with the country. You can't trust them with the country. Now I want to ask you, if you are in parliament, show me where you come from. I can guarantee you now, I can bet $1 million on the table. I can tell you now, wherever you come from, I don't care what province, there's youth unemployment. So if we're not going to plan youth unemployment, I said to work about to buy 70 million more country. Opaletse ke ba 100,000 ko tswanteng ko kaseo enyane 70 million tshuna. So these people can't do anything for us, that I can tell you. Yeah, I'm yet to see a real soldier. When I say soldier, I'm just speaking figurative. A real politician or a leader that says that now my resume is this. Kokasiaka so because of rekurile wa so, and we can take this model of success and replicate it throughout the country. Ampanana ke voted.
Thanks.
Marathon play laure de Oliver Tambo de Teta no Porta de Manuel Jutas bale santa no Jutas manya
history and to now uzokhuluma ngayo
sheba none ke bua fact. And by the way, let it be the first time on this podcast go child akuna flop le Julius ke na le flop le VAR are bueng VAR wa nthola ne. So ona no retlo batho ba rona ba tlo ya stadium ba lo bina akere no una le state o ya FNB or Orlando akutse o ya ga yeah o tlatsa stadium Kila bika e tuna radinyo.
Every year.
So okay, no, se really the hip hop stars, se reta di fill up afela for our own resume so that I can go BBC or CNN go chalo right fill up a stadium of 60,000 people. So that you must be scared because outside South Africa came when a BBC. Draghi, if you can tell me which politician has ever said, right, rekala ka TK, Draghi paiswa kai. All of us, all of you, send this number, WhatsApp address ya drug, rabakena. Esbale ke rona fela ba mathamo fatshe le ntjatse thata, ba leng ba re kena mo ba re dlala le paisa drug. So pople le rabo ya 6 PM altsatsi le re mo di mabona. Ke rona fela ba tsanda dinyi. Pela the only court case, the only reason why Negile Kapatlago is because I apparently stole 300 from the drug dealer's house.
That's funny.
Yeah, na ke pathuti clip. Esbale ke na le metle ren petu una na re santsane ke tlo pathula clip ko drug dealing. Drug dealer petu mulao no mulao. What law is it that allows a drug dealer to kill the future of our country? Na ke re drug dealer ikandiwe ke problem. Lux is not yeah, it's violent. It's not. Hey man, these people kill millions of kids daily. Get drugs. Na ke re ba fet tshwara mtho if keep a gun, keep a gun.
Same
Ke
time.
chela var, ner ku chele var sibal. Inkwa ke na tleva ya ke pakan ke sharp headshot first. Akbatlo siba mangore. I'm not going to wait for any of my people to be shot before I shoot.
Yes, sir.
Skamplela mlao ring ke bua so le peki cela ka mamela madala ke spana le ena full time marco chaila ore mlao o tlo briga if o kena clever hi e khombe sister ka kan ke shapa ka headshot akere mlao ore warning shot man, that's sweet nothings but nna ke bua the welling ka teng that's why batho ba sanganywe ba bang ba nganywa bo ke bua var nna ke tlo shaka headshot a khombile ka kan anka so tatazelisi nka story. By the way, what does a gun firearm act say? Nana se was during that moment.
It's the same case, yeah. The one the GMPD that was shot, Joe.
100%.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that boy is probably gonna walk scot-free, the shooter.
Sure.
Because he was acting under self-defense. That boy had a gun, whether he pointed him with the gun or he was intent he wasn't gonna shoot. Yeah. That's not a case. You can't argue that. If you have a gun, chief, I have to defend myself. Yeah, man.
Because sorry, Nakona, coming back to a track, there's a thing that I said off camera in which Ngatano we paid.
Yeah.
I'm a track Sabula Laban to beach. 3 houses from Langtala Kona, my grandmother's house. Gwine Ntwana, Ipucho Babaki. Like Pucha, like Umkati Zanta Nenya. Matpetela Hamba Mumaba FNP.
And Amatra, there's no sane person that can do that. It's drugs. It's drugs, and there are things are gonna like us, and we are aware of the people that selling these drugs, but as Kulu, for some reason we are scared. You understand?
Yeah.
Because the politicians also profit from the drugs. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, if I
sure.
Yeah. So, mina, in the end, mangaza iwan. They are doing best for the country. Like best protect. Why bakulwisa kangaka?
Because I told you, it's simple. Politicians profit from our poverty. So if your job is to liberate the people, your job is to make sure that that means you are now independent.
Yeah.
So they need more people on the grant system for them to continue as politicians, as government. Because if you look at first world countries, the grant is for major business. The grant you get is if you are opening a mine in another country. Uthola grant. Awuthole grant urupa napkins bale. So once you can free your people from that level of poverty, you become number one enemy in the country. Once you fight drug dealers, that means you are saying the people must be sober enough to contest the nonsense in the country. We need the young people high. We need the young people killing their fathers. We need them so that the focus can be that way while we do our things this way. Esibali batho ba spina nyoke bias but nka chaila re una le politicians a country tse nang le madlala tse apaiwang cash ko Dubai. Wa tseba Dubai ke eng fethu. O paiwa madlala cash ko Dubai. Ka nyoka lona spiniwa lona le bo makoko sibali. So it's best when you don't know it. So ski ringa so ke flop sibali. Ke flop a Kenya blind. Lo ntwana ntle ke re ka etsang. Ska makala ka sana una le bo sister by 16 ba rapile because of ka fela batho tse meter bulang case sa akna choice ke mla wa masepa o le un re phila ka wona because of ha ke na le sak tlamele kilo ml sibali whether it's a truth or a lie we'll know later but if una le bana ba 17 ba ke ilweng meter each phela meter mpetho it frees you of a lot of things so bo sister nka se ba play ya ba iqova ngosta bona di gela tse grand sponsor bona fela kuri in the next 5 years di step antwane ya speed because le number tsa antwane di mnati tshwere le bo vinja tsa location enke ba ba contest a country ba iqova so are ba ti stepping ya are ba ti stepping so ke ona ntwe tsa lang so a rona ra tsuwa mfeturu tsa location
vele thina sikaze sathoka thina sa sazalwa sabikwa thina sikaze sathoka so me what I can say is bafethu me I stand with KOTA N CHILL Lux. I stand with Godman Vuyojeeper.
Sure.
You know why? Because they make sure with the people like us always survive.
Sure.
You know what people do, Pijam? People sit and watch and talk and comment on Facebook or Twitter negatively. We are the people that stand up and do a change. Last month we did an initiative, La Pesquera, I understand. But the government did it, that school is Sanin. It's over 60 years old, but we had to stand up and do it as the people, our sikasi, our experience. So what I'm saying, Uguti, if the city is smelly government, we could have waited for another 10 years. You understand? And another thing that I discovered, the syllabus has changed. And the syllabus now is crack. When we were in school, dog,
yeah, quick.
Not 10 years, dog.
Quick.
10 years, primary, woodwork, farming. We need to own the value chain. We spend on a farm like us, chief. In the farming, when the transport business, when the wholesaler, see better your just do that. You understand? I shouldn't outsource anything. Sure. But I don't want to empower you. You get by you to understand, because I want you to be under me all the time so that I can dictate to you. I can be superior. You always must be inferior. We need to work with each other. Feet. You are a farmer, you are a transporter, you are a wholesaler, you are a sister.
Sure. Yeah. No, so what you're saying is spot on, because if you just look at it from an economic point of view, Botswana has a stronger economy than South Africa.
Exactly.
And Botswana has around 2 million people, just under 2 million people. So that alone tells you that if Soweto has a population far bigger than Botswana, Lesotho, and which other one? Namibia, put together. So the population in Soweto is bigger than our neighboring countries put together. So if we're deliberate and intentional about building an independent economy here in Soweto, we would show South Africa flames. But South Africa would rather have us drowning in social issues, so that a brilliant mind like him calls me to speak about how we can paint a school, instead of our meeting being about how do we advance the economy to further compete with South Africa. So they win the whole day because their planning is far too deep. Even this podcast, the podcast could be speaking about who is the next young girl, or forget the gender, who is the next young science student we are taking to space, because Soweto has its own space exploration in collaboration with NASA. This podcast could be speaking about that, but it's speaking about the reality of the township, which has been sponsored by the politicians of the day. Our conversation is a result of the incompetence. Otherwise, we wouldn't be speaking about this. So environment is key. I always say that if motuna le flop ya bjwala or ready drugs, like I've got a cousin, we're discussing my cousin now. Flop drugs.
Sure.
His biggest problem is not consumption of drugs. I can tell you now for the first time on this podcast, anyone who suffers from drugs, leave that person alone. Start changing their environment, because you can't consume drugs if the environment doesn't have drugs for you to consume.
Exactly. So
there's
a supply and demand.
Simple as ABC.
So
cut the supply.
100%.
You're gonna suffocate that person.
Sure.
It's like prison. Problematic isolation for 30 days. 4x4 said, you understand? So people want the audience.
Straw.
So cut the supply.
Or I shall try Ali one. Go to Ali one. I'm going to my chance. Let's try to live one. Then keep up shy.
And it's a community.
Only one of shy is. So for me, the conclusion around this issue is that if we can just focus on the environment, all of us invest in the environment that we all want, because the environment will always be the master of the mindset. If you want to be a pilot, you must chill with pilots. Because about a pilot, the chances are about cricket, rugby. The chances are it's a matter of time before you start throwing a rugby ball, because so for me the environment is key, because it determines the success of the mind. So whatever you choose for yourself, make sure. I mean, we come from an era, and I'm sure I'm looking at everyone here, they've experienced this. We come from an era where wherever you slept, no one had a poster spot. So you were creating an environment that suits your mindset. Ronaldo's too far, but Cristiano R9. R9. So pilot, aviation, golf for Tiger Woods, any else. So what am I today? I'm a professional golfer with the PGA.
Very
I've got my wings. I fly planes and helicopters.
Yes,
so my environment made sure that I become that person.
Yes, sir.
You can dream all you want. You can never be a pilot without the airport. Khohlwa, the environment must have an airport for you to be a pilot. So when I ube selfish, ube selfish. Ngcono bari uketsa cheese boy, uketsa bitiri, uketsa eng. Esibala ke batho ba pilot nka siplomelwe na mokasi. So ntsha ka feri mara ke eng o tlo nthusang ka yona a re bue fari.
Sure.
Ke eng o tlo nthusang ka yona.
Hayi kamazi ne-pilot yenza.
Wa bona ke yona flow.
Yebo. So masibuyela lapho uthatha ungibuyisela phansi because we out here fighting for land. Mari agriculture sefundanga.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got a beautiful country, and as you are saying, when I was still consulting, I come across this white guy, pale. This guy is pale. Ntariyana. He's from Switzerland. I'm like, so I'm concerned. Why are you here? Why would you move from a country that's got less than 5% crime, that's got social grant to everyone that's unemployed, and come to South Africa that's got its own problems? And you know what that guy said in fun? And I still remember it today, that what guy said, the reason I came to South Africa is because of the weather. Only the weather. So he is gonna enjoy ilento. Yonke lento crime yethu ama load shedding yethu, everything that the government is doing to us just because of the weather. So we've got a beautiful country, but a leader, leader wethu mfethu, they are not protecting it. Soon this it can't be free for all.
Yeah.
It can't be free for all. That I'm not talking. I've got a lot of foreign friends. Amachita, good nation, but we are saying let there be documented. Let the people come in legally, because you saying there's 5,000 Zimbabweans. There's not. It's probably triple the number they are talking about. You understand?
Exponentially, sure.
And it's not like I'm bashing Amachita. Spila na Amachita, but we need to protect ours. We need to protect Ikaslet. So ikala ngathi.
Yeah.
Ikala ngathi.
Because into benitshela Amachita ngasikazi khulume grouping ukuthi before we talk about South Africa, let's talk Soweto.
Yeah.
You can't talk about ikhano ngakhulumanga ngenhliziyo.
Simple basic.
Yeah, so even our educational system godmane like yazi masingabamba leyo. Because so lokho esijutha labafana evotela niyenza malafika esikoleni bamfundise nyeni.
Sure.
Like yabo ne education system yethu flop. Yenye issue esingakhulumi ngayo like sishalo ngayo.
Bheka manje.
Okay.
Amachita ukuthi nathi ama-South Africans lazy. To be honest and fair, we are lazy people. South Africans are lazy. We want instant gratification. Sifuna into yenzakale no. We need to start small. We need to learn from these boys. As much as Amachita here legally, but they hustlers, chief. You need to take their throw the low you push it and sell la matamati. Amachita from Maputo, Nyambani, they come here and they do that.
Yeah.
Young child. Those boys that when you cut your hair, Amachita from I cut my hair slightly. I don't go a salute, young child. Cut Amachita, and they tell me struggle. Said I feel for them, but I understand Uguchi why they are here, but still I don't agree with that, because now they are not here legally and they are adding to the problem that is load shedding. Sure. You understand? Sure. So Nati Mawangavala Machita, who you gonna fix one of the Sedikatu? Yeah, one. One of the Paisela Matamati, you need to understand. Konamaji Anjula no pop up. You don't have to walk to a square, to understand?
Yeah.
So Tina, we are ashamed of doing that. We feel guilty, we just wanna sit behind of a computer. And that's the only job. No, they bang. I worked at the institution, boys. Those boys, on the 15th of the month, in Mampara week, they've got 30,000. They are banking. They are banking when now umele 20, umele 8,000, 12. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Those boys are hustlers. We should learn from them. Sure. As much as we are saying this, which borders need to be stricter, we need to learn from them. They come here and hustle.
Yeah.
You understand? Which is results of their education system.
Sure.
This Zimbabwe can never
you can't
debate
compete.
Zimbabwe.
You can't.
You can't. Look at
education is there.
Look at the lawyers. Court they overturned that decision. Machine. Zimbabweans. Those lawyers are brilliant.
Simba.
Ama clause umtswaleli wabuya is appealing now.
Sure.
So that thing is overturned because you get mediocre lawyers nje uphethe ubani le lawyer kase. Do you understand?
About that.
Lezayitsotsi zifundile chief.
Yeah.
Lezayitsotsi zifundile, they know their story. Hence the court came back and said this decision is overturned.
Sure.
Exemption is extended for another year. So much it are here for another year while Mtswaledi needs to reapply for interdict. You understand?
Okay.
Which was a stupid thing, just getting mediocre lawyers, Samangan market just to represent. You can't. It's a country issue, that thing.
Yeah.
It's a country issue.
So Hodman, can you add more before we jump into? Okay.
I think my small addition to what V's saying is simple. If we can align our education system to the economy of the country. The young people don't even know what makes our economy. Agriculture is a big part of our economy. Mining is a big part of our economy. Why isn't mining a subject at school? But mining is a subject in other countries that don't have minerals.
Yes.
Because then they preparing their future businessmen to come and take over Africa. But then they sponsor that nonsense education system so that we can always be at the bottom of our own food chain. So if we can just make sure that we study that at a community level, say there's no way that you're just going to sit back and watch them not know what mining is when they literally wherever they are there's shafts underneath because it's a mining province. You cannot have them study logistics because there's more trucks in Mpumalanga than anywhere else in the country. So that means you are saying that Ntwanata Zimbabwe as a subject in high school, not even university, logistics mining economics So that means you are saying that Zimbabwean is the most suitable person to run Mpumalanga as a province. Not even the MEC or even the mayor will stand with an average person who comes from such countries with such education system. So my parting point is let's go back to an education that gives us skills, not theory. Because it's mokasi, channel degree 5 you are just an overthinker of everything.
Yes.
You blomara or child. Do you know that every day you fit a quantum 17 is bad? And then retune is bad. Like you just an intellect trapped in a very small pond. So we need to make sure that we free our people that are intelligent and we free the leaders that we have so that the future can be brighter.
Yeah.
And again, I'm saying it, there's no way we can subject people like this to be speaking about what we are speaking about today.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in 5 years, every podcast in this country will be speaking about our satellites in space. What does it mean to have a satellite in space? How and what's the monetary value of having a satellite in space?
Tell us now.
So
let's bring 5 years here now.
Yeah, so data. So the new currency is data.
Yeah.
So data is the new currency.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that data is defined as what you buy for your phone. Data is just information. You see what I mean? So the data you get from out of space or space exploration, every country needs the data so that it can be part of their education system. So go once up to using the things we're talking about. Atlas, how many planets we have around the solar system. So all those things is not someone's opinion. It's research based. So whoever owns the research then owns the masters, if music, so because we all understand that language. Then owns the masters, then sells it to whoever's using the song is going to be paying us. So America makes money with their eyes closed. Russia makes money with their eyes closed because everything that you've ever learned about space exploration,
Just by then.
the master is ball. So I mean, what does it cost for us to build our own space shuttle? We've got South Africans that have been there before and say that the best science students we're investing in the next 20 years. South Africa doesn't have future investment. We will all live for now, including government.
So that's why we contain too much alcohol and too much drugs because we live for the now. So let's go here. Ngibona my podcast
Yeah.
ukhuluma nge military being infused in education, which is a smart and a brilliant idea because if sabakanjalo soba disciplined, yabo nakhona ngifila ngathi before singena ku military, the system of education must be changed.
Sure.
It must be more skills, more cooler than academics, more mdala.
Exactly.
Because kwabona amantwana siyesigangeni senza amadrati, imoto zamadrati, siyadlalisa. Sintswembu ngezandla.
Mele siqale ngantwana, mele siqale ngokususa le Afrikaans. I don't understand why it's still there. You know, I was surprised. My daughter is 6 this year. So we start to grade 1 this year and they said she's doing Afrikaans. I'm like, it's a corner. You know, I've been out of school for probably just under 20 years now. So I was surprised that Saseni Afrikaans as a subject. Why is it there, dog? That's what we need to be talking about. That's what the government needs to remove. They need to put handwork. They need to remove that Afrikaans, put handwork. People must learn farming. People must learn how to upholster. People must learn to understand. Yeah. So that's what they say. So by the time you are old, imagine it's like soccer. That's why we're lacking people. Government it's like soccer. South Africans, we are how many? We are ranked 50th in Africa now, maybe, or 100 and something in the world.
Yeah.
Why? Because of its development. Imagine if it development here too. I'm just putting soccer because basic everyone plays soccer. Imagine if uthatha intwana encane unhlanhla umlahlela ku development ana 6 basics, trap, pass, head, yabona, chest, yabona, head. So thina sifunda idiski informally uqala professional udlalela ibhakaniya una 21, you play for 7 years. But ama basics awekho. We understand. That's why ingamna zishaya no, you play England. They know basics, they know tactics, you understand. Tina sibamba at a late stage. You understand? So it goes back to scale. Teach the boys handwork. Let them choose. Remove that stupid subject that's called up. Where are you going in Afrikaans? You're not gonna conduct an interview in Afrikaans. Never, anywhere. You're not gonna do presentation in Afrikaans anywhere. English is the medium of communication, Lana. So these kids need to master English. Afrikaans for in.
Yeah.
Dog, no. So that's another fight, or that's another thing that must be removed. Remember, Macheru fought 1976 for that same Afrikaans not to be medium of instruction. But now we are the youth, as a Manjanina boys. You need to say no, remove it. Give me economics instead of Afrikaans. Add your economics. One fundisi Africa, Nwenza. About to commendate for what? No, dog. Yeah,
manje khona manje lami yazi flop liver. Walwa lento leyo. Bazocanga ukuthi uyahlala. Yabona ukuthi khona manje bamenza.
That's what those are the people that are not doing anything, chief. People that yababona exactly.
Yababona khona manje baqalile. Yababona.
Locheli.
Yababona baqalile.
But
people that don't do anything, yibaba khuluma, chief. You understand ukuthi if Nhlanhla, imagine the energy Nhlanhla that he puts a gas or the energy that I put just to empower youth as a gas. If I decide to be greedy, I just do it for my kids. So konabantu abangena intellect to do those things, but that's why we are here. That's why he's here to speak for them. That's why we are here to do it for them. You understand? As lingani singabantu. Do you understand? As lingani singabantu. So we had to make a stand. So his kids can be rich if he had to channel yonke energy yakhe to concentrating family yakhe kuphela. But si concentrate ikas lonke mfethu. We diversifying lento yethu. Ama expertise yethu ne whatever small that we have. But we can decide to be greedy. Ngivele ngithi no mina because I know how to galvanize my donation. It's okay, donations, and take those things to my kids.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
Make some because I know the language. I know where to knock. You understand? All these companies, they can give us anything, chief. You just need to know how to speak and knock. Maba to know. Nah, CSI baba. Community responsibility.
Sure.
You have to. We are the consumers of your products. What are you doing for us?
Thanks.
You understand? But a simple magogo from Agas, which she can do that. She's just gonna be poor in Osaka generation, Osaka and I be poor, you understand? Poverty breeds poverty, you understand? The cycle just keeps on going.
Yeah, because before we talk about public services, Mani kept on fighting for his Soweto, like.
Sure.
So short to tell you some Mulo for the Soweto.
Yeah,
you understand? 4:10, ne?
Yeah.
But uzwile abantu abamnyama bathi now Lux uyahlanya. Like kwenzakaleni, what happened? Bekwenzakalani? Why iyenzakalile lento le?
Tlamela re botsa dipari tse itshuneng why ba itshune mare ntwe nka o tshela nyona gore it's not the first time. Malcolm X when he was alive just before his full transition into Islam, when he started speaking hard truth and government was threatened, his apartment got bombed. And the same government had already sponsored media of the time to make it seem as if he bombed his own apartment. So when it happened, and when Akutwa 4:10 and some and what Julius Malema Netflix roko child as well. Na personally ke bua mo podcasting ke goditse ke MacG'S like in real life for sure. Skela tse ke dikene ka tšhelete o spina mpana bo.
Yeah.
Sure. And gale ke reng a idea.
Sure.
So I ke emotional. So how mpaizisa ro o ntregela. I ke reactive. Because I react wow. Twasa la strat. We are going to come back, and when the tables turn, you are all going to know Esan Ebo Lux responded no, but you will have nowhere. I'll be chilling. I'll be chilling. You should be the polo go mahlobo just by 2. Did home somewhere. Go chalafar.
Facts.
Go chalafar. It waits already. For as long as I'm alive.
Facts.
Yeah. We let nothing slide where I come from.
So Khotman Lam, maskulma at 4:10. Do you really know abobana bayenzela le nto?
Ke tseba ke bomang. So I batwe ringa rough, but kitlo I'm a man of action togo. Yeah, so but ba ringa pa man ba ntsembu ko Twitter. So ar ska ringa ka yona no abo. Yeah, because at clever di bono it's fit for them to take a decision to put your family at risk. Ne? I get bona they took that decision, super minded. Yeah, so mo tswanteng gore yetsa ntwe etsa nketse ke yetsa. So e ke etsa nya zwala. Ke ntwenya.
Something is coming. So sizobuya ku 4:10 bafethu yabo. So njengoba ngicela ungitshela masibuye.
Yeah, sure.
So let's hop into public services bafethu. Let's hop into load shedding. Lesinganamanzi namanje sinamanzi. Yo ngigeze kanzima vandaka.
Vasco mntwana.
Yo,
I will naga splash.
Okay mina kusasa ngigezi mina. Ngeke ngizo njalo ngiphethe amabhakede nyanzula ngihlanye phela. Kwenzakalani bafethu? Kwenzakalani? Why sine load shedding? Why amanzi abheda? Why ama service wethu abheda mara sihlala isivota?
You won't be surprised ukuthi it's intentional.
100%.
Just for some water truck company to supply and eat. For
You won't
be surprised when you dig and dig. But Dudula is in charge of the company that's supplying water. In 3 days, you can imagine how much is there, to understand? So it's this country, man, is going to the top.
But go to my Instagram. Now I document these things. I was in Free State, Koka Sebar in Kronstadt. They hadn't had water for months. None actually around. But all man 80 mukas. If it no man but serious vatinix. Ye man ki check rashe mobilization because it was way to mobilization. Big meeting, the biggest meeting in that place. Rabamela highway ki N1 right Kopa, and then police station right Kopa, and then I wanna axofetsubu. Because abana spirits are on kai mar by twar but I rayets already surely ready rayets already ke phone electa government amane sibala khantu chuna meeting to via buang var shop up ma comrade ka rabara wena phela re tlatila ka wena wetsang ke re ma comrade le re tlatila ka nna for kurela vati for makoko Lona King sponsor Lona sharp. I be ke tall or the truck at least meets every day. Boma koko ba ploma ka line. Their dignity is gone. Ba ploma ka di baguette, ba metse truck ba kai. Ika 2023.
Come on.
So the truck at se ke tsa ma comrade. And I'm so now on at kuma comrade ka fela. So re go chale. Ke tsa ma comrade. Ntho ba itshuna. They're profiting from our people's poverty. That's why that's my definition for who they are. So halili poor retsa nyoko. Because Kenya track I salvati ra invoice. By the 200,000 every week but from our people's poverty. And then as it's relatively because of Rona Watsiva re khona thola flop re etswa kae. Ntjatse di kwetse di valve ko pampo. Ba ikwetse valve. So ske kwala riding so. A ona ntwese ile ba kwetse valve so. And then we spread out le flop we took it to province so that province can and then go province una ma comrade amang ba send a report this thing is outside our budget we've asked national.
Come on people.
She bokola vel so that's why next na remorse ngono ba re ntwani ya rwakana sibale na I'm telling you now that I guess I'm not going to act nice sound nice at the expense of my people. Yeah, man, but in real life, dog. So we must take arms against our own people to free the future of our own people.
Let us do it.
Yeah, no. Forward to anarchy, to end anarchy.
Yes. Yes.
I don't remember the AKD to already preachers, but like in yeah. Unlike we're going to tiptoe around issues. I'm not going to allow Kopram Fisher last year 2022. No only group yabatu. Group yabatu kintwana tsa zim re tsene re di fatla ga tseding. Ke zim le Mozambique and yes some South Africans. Ba kena mo dintlong ko Fisher ba ripa bo makoko ba cover dintho bo makoko. They said it trend 3 weeks. 3 weeks later ke ko police station Bram Fisher na police station. Ke police station ya DOESN. Ke respond. Case A re dila jwang ka case A. No, we're still looking for the suspects. Rona re bakeng. Mamela di ntjha tse thato re preachitse di AK ra ya ko Bram Fisher no abazwakala. Do you think it happened again? It was the end of the story. So sometimes you can't talk about these things. We need to do it. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. We need to have the mindset of the colonizer. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
If you want anything done for your people, have the mindset of the colonizer. The colonizer they were not philosophers and spoke nice and wrote poems about how Africa's nice. Oh wow, and the sunset. And anyone who's between us and it is dying. And today, if you make it racial, the white people are enjoying the actions that their ancestors took, that the violent action that their ancestors took. They did not sing Kumbaya and get into a conference for them to own land.
Thanks.
So now you want Kumbaya? No. Retola call bare una le shailing family ka koni ka ofel. Retse meeting ya conference and sing Kumbaya.
No.
Never.
They attack.
So that's a fundamental difference between me and many other people. Many other people don't know action. That's why there's no one in that parliament today that we can say pela rinjata strata ka ofela yi. Resama pavement wa tseba pela strati. So ha ona motho ka mplela ngore o bone Paul Mashatile a tolwana le batho ba di drugs. O bone Julius a lwana le di drugs. O bone Cyril Ramaphosa a lwana le di drugs. But all of you here are affected by drugs. Everyone, we all have a cousin or family or friend. No. But it's okay. We don't even discuss it in parliament. We discuss it on June 16. Because it's
coming.
or close to the elections. But I'm not surprised because the same drug dealers, they sing struggle songs in political regalia. We know the drug dealers. We know them here in the township. Abaya ko FNP, li EFF. Nangaulo kombela drug dealer komfolo. Drug dealer go Alexandra. They work together. That's who they are.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Okay, because
Kiki generate.
Yeah. Before Strubega Fetating Sharp advertising football there. Local is like this is authentic. There's no Soweto without a KOTA. Like we're keeping it real.
Yeah, sure.
So football, by the way, Buffett. As the EPS go about man hey, wabake nakadi AK wabangadlaze.
Yeah, I mean it's a Fisher. They don't have the problem now. The guys are gone. Because if you look at all the violent crime in South Africa, The guys are carrying AK-47s, the R5s, and you want to still sing kumbaya and say, no, let's discuss this. Now, all I'm saying is pound for pound, we match the force. If they come with AKs, let's go with AKs. We look at what young people in Soweto were able to do during the looting. Kumaponya, young people in Soweto were able to bracket Maponya. What government couldn't do, what law enforcement couldn't do, the young people could. So it speaks to your point of unity. If we can just come together, we've got enough virulence amongst us to do whatever we need to do.
Thanks.
What government couldn't do, what law enforcement couldn't do, we were able to do.
In numbers.
In numbers, come up.
Yeah, you know what's sad, ne? Coming back to what you are saying. When it's about time to be in elections, you'll see EFF cars. You'll see them making noise. But you'll never see an EFF leader in the hood.
Where do they even hold meeting? Like, if Kibatoba EFF Buffett,
and the West Rasela
and it's not like it's a podcast against EFF. Okay,
No.
TA. Join a TA Mokas.
Nowhere.
Or the ANC Lifu, because of these days you go Lifu Fela Mobonang but Baperin Tota politics. It's like political parties are turning to burial societies. How much up would like more Babona, Muchale Khan? How Nali Khan? Maradi to Mamokasi must the cancer eats. But not the Khan when Antanga. Marona late truck dealer 2 houses away from your grandmother's house. Where na? Marmoli Fumu Pratle, Voshakan, yes, Bali. Kani Tunyamo, I'm afraid I Tunyamo.
Yes, very cancer one and Tunyamo. And the people need to understand this. We are not against politicians or politics. We are against the VAR.
Yeah.
Funny VAR, truth must be told.
But you know, Lentolena Yinjam. Ichain. Amachita, Amatractila, and the Spanish Sana Nabuha.
Strong.
So people are scared. They go to Mangzo Parama, Nkombu, Upo, Initi, Lana, and then Zizok Tregel. We understand. So we need we can't. So if I'm not gonna do it, who's gonna do it? I must do it. I must stand up and say no, Ted, you can't do this. Take us late. You are ruining a generation. We understand. So we know every street sasekasigun is sport. Future angiboni. So kula sibe stout. Nyazi ngringi varing obang na mahlo.
We're wrapping up in this.
So ignorance now as people, and it's due to the corruption that the police, the people, the Abokhata in blue and white have. Because now, by Spanisana now, we are utregela uprapiza upaisayo utregela gulento. Bukhata eli under payroll yakhe. So how does it happen? So that's why it is Suguma as a community. We don't have to be affiliated to any structure or political party. If it doesn't matter, we are united for the cause of eradicating this shit. Politics aside, ethnic group aside, whatever, pink, yellow. Yeah.
Because coming back to what you are saying, ezinye things speak up ukuthi as iSoweto, the problem sometimes akusi system or akusi uniform. Abantu aba operate lento le because ungahamba manje like kunesibhedlela eSoweto, kunesibhedlela eDeep Blue. Ngiexpect ukuthi mangumuntu wase Deep Blue, manje eDeep Blue ngithola iservice egrand. Yazi kule kwenye iclinic. Ugogo hawa, yazi nesi yamjump. Mina namkuka.
When it comes to health system.
Like dog, come on. So nifuna government isinakekele mara thina sikwazi ukunakekelana.
Sure.
Yabona le flop ezabodaki flop esilenzayo. UNhlanhla Lux uyawo yamhleka. Why ungamuphi isandla asoko moya emaphoyiseni uvula icase. Ithathwa la ithi umntana sesemtheni avula icase uzobona. Uzobona. So nalento le like kumele si-educate abantwana abakhotshwana laba ukuthi okay esigela abanifundisa education mara abanifundisa ukunakekelana. When into eze kumele wenze iCV yosebenza. Mara abazothi ngosemsebenzini kumele uphathe wonke umuntu olapho kanjani.
Yeah. You still have bosses, no leaders.
Ne.
Bosses.
Because no ungabheka ku-politics, it's less leaders and more dictators.
Exactly.
There's a leader and a dictator. Those are two different terminologies, if you know terms. So I'm a president, they are dictators.
Sure. No, 100%. And a selfish dictator. So, if you're dictating to advance the country, I can give you some examples. Like Gaddafi had to dictate at some point, at some level, because their hearts were in the right place and they could achieve great things. But general dictatorship is dangerous because someone might wake up, set a sick, and then country because we all rely on one mind.
Fact.
Sure. But look, I think let's bring it home. Mokasi Soweto of it. If we look at the things that matter to our hearts, we look at our history. You can't deny Pro-Kid, you can't deny Mapaputsi. So let's study their model. How did they become successful in the midst of chaos? Then you have to speak to some of the people that were there around them. A lot of people don't know that it doesn't matter what they say. I don't speak about absolutely everything. But the truth of the matter is that people like Pro, no man is an island. We were there the whole step of the way with Pro. So we can guide kids about how Pro did it. But Pro not pass, but Pro comes from a very poverty-stricken house. You see? So at some point, Linda na plomalin. Na plomalin not for maybe for like 2 years. Plomalin. So unalimo lena koning plomalin like nertusa. So I can tell you what made him. It was the quality of people around him. Not only him. And don't get it twisted. Linda was one of the best qualities I've ever seen. Pro-Kid.
Still is.
Yeah.
Pro.
But what made him, because but you will never see professional football because of the quality of people around him. Right now, but the quality of people around you, let me bring it home now in real life.
Real life.
I need to wings, but we need to quality around awareness, but we need to send an email. When I send an email, Vuyojeeper, we make coca batabi ulo ringela community ka CSI. Mariana utwaskela, and he's been in that space. He can't do it for the community. So Pro knew how to choose people around him. So ska chuta ki ale party ngalo perform everywhere no mona plomile le baba. Asi but ba ba. But ba ikiba ar research isa ra kontu. Kimango setting mokoloing ar fetsa drop off setting shebile kontu. But ba.
Yeah.
Until Kutlwano.
Yeah.
So I think a lesson for the township as well is that whatever you want to do, half the time you've got a brilliant mind, you've got a great idea, but ikawata kiba to ba around way, not way. Think about it. Everything that is major that you wanted to do, ibili a failure. It faces take about to bar around way. Even though at the end of the day as a leader you must take full accountability and responsibility, it's because you had the choice to pick the people around you. But if we look at the practical side, the people around you effed it up for you. Yeah. Nini sira YFM, uleta interview ya uqala, ovalena, and then naki kidlala kadingo, Snow White. Akufika ko FM nini sekilimo toilet ikisha Snow White ke patsa ke produce aw ke tlilele wathola ebothola man attitude ba shaka attitude entswembu dintsha ba kwalla okwalla ke batho ba around we nasibala to kapa my own family ke nalo thi aka lebitso like Kabelo like is my nigga, but I don't want him around me.
Why?
Yeah, because he has a drug problem.
Yeah.
Until he sorts his life out, it'll be sorted.
Kabelo, bro, come on.
Yeah, like Godman like a straight. Even though we're the same age, like Godman like a straight. Straight. So I told him the last time I spoke to him, Kari, there's no other man that I love with all my heart like I love you. But for the sake of where I need to go in this lifetime, I can't have you with me. And that was the last time I spoke to him. Sure.
So Godman Kabelo sakcela hayi ukuthi Godman alencane.
And utoba kre.
If utoba kre. Wena lencane. Mara ncane lento ebhemayo. Yabo. So Godman nami sizobuya ku music Godman amazi quiet was abo pro. Lesovala ngayo.
Yeah, sure.
Before we talk elections, let's talk Soweto Parliament. Yabo. We are on my podcast and we talk about the Soweto Parliament, but we don't go deep. Yabo. Let's talk Soweto Parliament. Okay, I know you are not part of it, Dudula, anyway, because of their method. Which
is nonsense.
It's nonsense.
I still say it's nonsense. Flop ya bo Dudula or ke tsoko Dudula sharp. Ne? Phela Dudula spale rinkile ra ibeya
on the map.
Global.
Yeah.
Before us you didn't know Dudula. Not only government.
Everyone was aware of that.
All states in Africa. Dudula was a discussion in United Nations. Do you understand that? That's how much we were shaking them. The people around us. Then the country vibrates. What's the take Nana V, we are Hillbro before we go to Hillbro. Tip off. Not only tip off, I'll make sure that the crowd doesn't come this side, we'll play that side, but double. So, but Sebaspina then they after Hillbro clean a few buildings. Do you know what they do? I get a building it clean. Bona Sebanka building you. Sebakhuti setsa same kwangs mara ba patala rent ko bona wa thola ke tshojwa so spin one na phela no ha sa spin one yeah so spin one na no and not only but people who were close to us, even political parties such as bona Ntariyana tsebo tsendibuwa holo including yena Julius. If you are saying that people in restaurant space they must stop employing Zimbabweans, because that's not only illegal. Because, let me tell you why it's illegal. Because we've got a labor law that sets a standard of how you should pay anyone that you employ. So if you have someone undocumented, you don't have to comply to the labor law, to the laws, because by them just being here undocumented is also just illegal. So they can't even get a license because they're not documented. They can't get employed properly because there's no document. So capital would rather work with those people because it increases their profit margins, because I have to pay my salaries are low or my wages are low. So politicians would go to Moseneke, more getting the restaurant at top, but no, we'll make sure here you are protected. That Dudula nonsense will not come here. Ebe ba thola body 20,000, not thola 20,000 restaurants 20 spale every month ba thola ka. So majense le mo country ba spina ka ro. Ebe ke rama ne manyane. Ke tswa location na ke tlo akpara tlo spina kan
amen aba understand ukuthi umntana ka MacG'S
enhlek ke yona flop mara a re chinda nya
ya baba le ndaba
ke yona flop so no, when I confront some of these things, and then let's go back to the ones around me. How about confront instead of just being honest and saying yeah sharp, they want to now behave like politicians. I like to start sapaqile sponsor la saruna ne baphanda sibale if every week uphanda kana uthola 50,000 kana akikena sani side ke deal al Nigerian that week went to 50,000 sibale obvious you're going to love me kana mislead wanthola which my bank is not clear tlamele ke lente check wetsala nana re around urosha FNB and tlamele no ke checkane le sibale ke problem so akubachinda bafet nakubachindile on that principle ya ore I can't trust them. And then bona, because they're human, and I understood it. Then Batlare, I like this anal soft spot for my kwerekwer. And if you listen to me, I always say that the fight is not against all foreigners. It's against undocumented foreigners. And then some foreigners want to act as victims and want to call us xenophobic. And by the way, let's speak about the xenophobic thing. Yes. At the height of the country's media and government, even the president came out on news, SABC, saying that it's a vigilante group led by xenophobic people. The president of this country said that. In the same week, in North Africa, I had a billboard saying one of the most progressive young people in Africa. Why? Because I fought in that war in Ethiopia. Yeah. But the media refused to tell all of you that Mokas, when I didn't just think the AK, they are Kopuga, North Africa, they are Wetala, Wakuruamo, Lashlanya, Lokuralitza Africa. Yes. That's why I was there for up for a month. Yes. Do you know what it means to be in a battlefield for a month? Go to my Instagram and YouTube. You will see. Not pictures, because picture you can play or videos or the board. Yeah, Tsura Kharaf Nat, Kharaf AK, Tsura Kharaf Nat. Ke ba kenya line ke resbali ke arspanning so echo ek echo ke lo sha ek wa phela ke bullet sbali se re metse di bullet di rinkile cover di fedile sbali wa nthola ne a di fedile re busy ka garaf ya manete no ya build the trench ke mo o khona nka cover things like o build fela o wetsa like a not to like with a position
like a foronyana
yeah so are trench 100 meters or 50 meters then re gona unka cover mo yona Watol. Then la from a distance, a surveyor the entire area, you don't see. But these things are things for battlefields.
Yeah.
So Africa as a continent understood our contribution to Africa. But our own media were saying xenophobic at the highest level. How?
How so?
How does that even make sense? So I then realized in that moment, sharp, I wanna far more country.
Yeah, very.
So okay, every man for himself. Because even now, you are talking to generals. Balkishi. So we're touring on your blind. You don't even need to convince you. You know that. You can feel that. But Floppy, we are generals of an army that is high. Because no general fights the war alone. So our army is high, is intoxicated, it's suffering from teenage pregnancy. Our army. Because we need to fight this war together. But when I look at my soldiers, especially they are high.
Hey, I mean.
No, in general.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's I speak including myself. We are high. In that time, I've never touched a drop of alcohol. So we are an army of high people. So listen, Joe. When I call a meeting, yalva or electricity. Utla bo makoko.
Yes.
Mare akitla iming.
Oh,
chaka.
Suppose I say something.
I wanna reminder. Ya iming. Ya iyo. Awithuli.
You know when you say that, community meeting in Kasi, there was one check that was Bafaga in Kukunyane to Trinyana, and a call was launched with you guys WhatsApp group. Yasekas, they were fit. You know, Kukunyano wanting at Tuyangena, and obviously, Izolandele Minion. Let's deal with it. You know, Mfetu, so sad how Amachita are. Bogabo Mama, so we're two guys. Amachita, we see two from that community, Kaslami, Langklala Kona, we see two Amachita, and the rest of Mama Abasekas. So I'm a time Matave. Amachita, a my pap, do you understand? So I'm an old lady, a faga machali, so keep a link on is fagging me cool, you understand? We get there, obviously, such national. Now we are born, but we have to. You can't because we want Lomkuku Namklanj. Sasa 100. It's a whole community. Now they are protesting. They want a library. They are burning the very same street or poles that say Samba now. You understand? So it's true what he's saying. Gucci, Amachi Tekasi. You do good, people talk. You don't do anything, people talk. You walk, people talk. So do what? Do you talk? Do you? Don't care about people.
But it's so bad that even parents love other kids more than their own kids. Every day. Kupa snapelo ena ngwanaka. Ebekere kupa bona phone ya makoko mponse color. Ebekere wa ngwana wa siyo mo color. Wa sanke snapelo ngosiao. Wa nkalinna. Because your son, your daughter needs the same love you are giving me.
Love,
yeah. I'm propelled by that love. So why do you think they don't need the energy and and anything to propel them to be a better person? So I mean so I think we must take the opportunity to thank Bo Makoko Libuma Olid Baron. But the Baspano Palabo Machens Coffee.
Yeah, well. And like into velling with the system as Gala, but Fed when tennis fully sedimental can Tantalax and Better Hotman. Lay no his strategies with us pollute and is moching on. Upegama Jepela, Itutula Machapegane. Itutula is a combination of MK and Umpagat.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
And most people who are there, they are not highly educated. They are paparik. Sorry guys, Maranens are pelling haphazardly. When I went to Pelufundele.
Yeah, feeling what did I do? You don't just.
I don't
You don't just. Yeah, well, you have to justify it. You can't.
Because man pegi the hustlers call and yabona la pokhot manage ukuthi bekunomuntu ojola nalo ojola nalo.
Sure.
You understand? Do
you know who's the new president of Dudula?
Who now?
Before we say it, you didn't know it. That still shows you the value we have in society. When we speak, then they grow. So I have an option of not even saying it so that they remain low. But we are going to say it so that they...
No. Okay, but we have to know.
Okay, let me exercise a little bit of words intelligence fast. The president of Dudula is a former secretary of Dudula, who happens to be dating Ujolang they one of the executive Dudula. So you will never ever be led by Mjolo Bete but let's find that in you. You need to take yourself serious.
Yes.
There's many now I was saying there's many young girls in Soweto. If you want to convert Dudula into a political party, which was by the way one of the things I didn't want, but they wanted to convert it, so it's now under the conversion. I said there are qualified young girls, young boys in Soweto. Make them the emerging face of Dudula, because you are then, what are you saying? You are giving Dudula a 30-year advantage. But if you are saying the leader of Dudula must be someone who has a cloud of MK and a cloud of Mangma, you are saying then the future of Dudula is now. So after this moment is dead. Because there's no young people there. And you are right, because Dudula was, or I don't know if it still is, was a combination of MK, all the military veterans, and Umpagat. And because I'm the president of Soweto Parliament, Umpagat, and then I came with my constituency in large numbers. Phela Dudula sibale netsa masepa. Sibale netsa masepa sibale. What's our kilas karo ki uyatla? Rush. So when we were there, I did my part of the deal. I brought in Umpagat into Dudula. But where did you see buses of MK and military veterans flocking out? Everywhere we went as Dudula, not over Makoko, barona mamukas. But the deal is this is a combination of two. So when you look at the leadership, the executive that was self-appointed, everyone is MK. But when you look at the constituency, which is the people that follow and the supporters, everyone is community. There's a big clash there. It will never work. It will never ever work. That's just what it is.
So basically, Soweto Parliament beyipusha, iDudula beyidonsa.
Sharp.
Because when I learned to my form, judging to my own experience,
Yeah.
you formed it to protect black people without getting income.
Sure.
So when
Sure.
is in a profit.
I phela mo ka sirabala sibali. I want to accident rebona re ke ko le feng I ratapa no. Instead of re thuse batho ba ra batapa sibali. So chaotic mentality ngwe ya o bala re batla rula re badile re accident le sibali re qine re tuna 5 clip sibali. A rena taba le re mtho o survive go bala o tsala.
So makhotmanam name I wish malolo shading yasifaka ngokutshela evale yasibulala namanje namakota ngoyenza kanzima sekumele ngikhathi isikhathi ngenxa yakho.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk asivale sizivale ngomusic ama elections ayeza.
Sure.
This is the biggest platform in Soweto yabo.
Exactly.
So we must tell our kids ukuthi votelwane.
Yeah.
Yabo. So future what more must you expect from Soweto Parliament and ungakhohlwa lento yakho 10 past 4 ukuthi abobani kahle kahle.
Hayi mamela ke tlo le bontsha ke bomang. You know when Boss Adam said I feel you calling us terrorists when we are not. You are claiming that we've got weapons of mass destructions when we don't. America went in and terrorized the whole country and still didn't find anything. To date, there's no report of anything. But you know what clever didn't say Bin Laden? Divide between Tower no Shebil.
So what more must you expect from Soweto Parliament and Cheap Nation?
From Soweto Parliament, what you can expect is not what I want, it's what we all want.
Facts.
So you see, Soweto Parliament is informed by what the people of Soweto want, and the priorities are also informed by that. So when we sit as Soweto Parliament, we are going to look at the real issues of our people, and we're going to see what programs we put in place, what actions we put in place to solve the issues of the problems of the township. But what you can expect from me outside Soweto Parliament, I've got a foundation, NHLANHLA LUX Foundation, and we only focus on the disability sector, because we forget that people living with disability really need the help. Abana choice. But but we are fighting for people who are fully abled, like you and I. So we are encouraging MacG'S to continue chilling in the corner because I like to so. But people living with disability, they don't have a choice. They need it. So we then said with my immediate guys that whatever with the foundation, we can't continue doing the same thing that we're doing on the other side. With the foundation, let's be the amp that amplifies the voices of the deaf people.
Oh, yeah.
Wanthola ke tjho jwang? So right now, as we speak, South Africa, on this is the first time I say it on a platform. People don't even know half the work I've done in the disability sector. Sign language is about to become the 12th official language, signed by the president, because Nere Nyova. And the media will not want to speak about that. Why? Because it's too good. Why must we show that? You know what I mean? So on the 19th, Sowetan, you must all understand, on the 19th, the president, Ramaphosa, is going to be effectively signing sign language as the 12th official language, which means our brothers and sisters that are deaf will now be able to go to Wits University, Rao, UJ, like everybody else. Because let me explain it. So right now, as we speak, if you are deaf, you can't go to UJ because UJ can't invest in something that is not constitutional. They are also a business. But if the constitution forces them, because it's now an official language in the constitution, then they have to make provision for it. Because if you are deaf and you go there, you want to study medicine, and they can't reject you anymore. Because now the law says it must happen. So you're going to have, what does it take for you to get in a heart operation? It needs someone that's qualified to do the heart operation. So if you are just deaf, you can't speak, it doesn't affect your intelligence at all. It's just a communication barrier, but because we are signing, it's also a language. That means there's no difference. I can also become a doctor. So now you're seeing the institutions do it. But what you are going to see in our communities, that's a difference, is that we are now going to, we've been training, as we speak, deaf people to go into police stations so that they can service other deaf people. If you are deaf, we are go police stations, they don't know, nobody knows what to do with you. I just got raped, maybe rape or traumatized, and sign language. She can't get serviced. And what does that mean? It means that every police station, every hospital, every school, institution, they are all unconstitutional if they do not cater for people living with disability within the deaf space. So that's what we're able to fight for. Do you know how long some politicians in parliament have been trying to change the constitution around the land issue? Guys, changing the constitution is probably one of the most difficult things to do. So everyone that is deaf, everyone that is even not deaf, that fought for the liberation of our people living with a disability, have done a bigger job than most politicians, because we changed the constitution. The fight was constitutional. It wasn't social. That's why you didn't see it on Twitter. It was constitutional. So we took it to the highest level. They had to sign. They signed the bill, but now So that's what the foundation is doing. We play a lot in the disability sector, and we activists within that space, and we actually help people that need the help. You'll never find anyone what disability look on Twitter. Abua just. Those people need the help. They need it. They don't have time to play. So you're going to see for the first time, we are going to fill the stadium with only disabled people. Just fill the stadium, because we'll be exercising. It's a power demonstration. It's a number demonstration, because as we speak here, a lot of people don't know that deaf people, actually people with disability, they're in millions in this country, but we don't speak about them on a normal day. So maybe in the podcast, you need to bring some of the young people in the space to come and articulate what they go through on a daily basis.
And on the deaf thing, I worked back in the days when I started my career. I worked with the deaf person. Those people are discriminated, even by clients, even by management, you understand? Because now we don't understand what to teach, So I just remember when Uboy is talking about that deafness of people. So when I started work, I used to work in a banking institution. I was just general teller. So people used to avoid this teller because she's deaf, and there's no need to, because back in the days, you just write your account number and whatever money you're depositing, and you give it to her. I'm sure now we are aware. You don't have to explain. It's not like you consult her. there need to be communication. So there was no barrier there and there was no problem. But I just remember which clients they used to not go to it. But I'm like, how about it? What stops you from Gumkaya le clipper? Net deposit slip 80. I'm depositing to Ntariyana LUX 100 rand. You don't have to say anything to it. But people in Jengoba petty, but then they wanna do small talk. They're just you're in front of your cube, but so yeah, you don't go chair, you understand? And Lomtana Bowichair, I'm just thinking, fuck. I'm sure she feels.
Sometimes
you feel like not coming to work. You feel like I want to buy a ballet, I understand? Yeah, so discrimination I want to is very So what the guys are doing, I support, dog. Big up. So we have to support these people because they can't. The ones that are willing and able are sitting in corners and pubs and taverns. You understand? And then using Twitter, black Twitter, just to put everyone down that's standing up for Ikasi or for whatever initiative.
And just a quick one because I'm looking at time here, load shedding and nonsense. Oh man, I was telling the police at the highest level, generals, when I was doing the presentation for everything I'm talking about with the police stations. I asked them a simple question. How do you arrest a deaf person? Generals. We don't know.
They can't
because part of arresting, when I arrest you, I must read you your rights. You've got the right to remain silent, whatever you do, or say can and will be put. So all those rights. How do you tell them? So that means every arrest was unconstitutional. So now if you work in within the sector, once a police station, you check out. What's even to yeah, sure.
Man kuluma kanje kubuyela kwalento lebesisho because hayi nabantu basemabheni wecamera bafethi bayalwa mara bafethi ubuntu banobuntu so masivala bafethi sivotela ndise phela manje sikhuluma iSoweto sisho ukuthi sivotela
and vote for change vote for change
next year ngithi manje isikhathi sama election manje ikhulunywa wona kuphela
but what's nice is that Soweto kasarona re tourist mo Soweto communication is easy. We can drop a video that gets in 90% of the households within 1 minute. So we've built those structures. So Baskash, or to communicate, we're going to consult because it's not my opinion who you vote for. It must be informed. It must be informed by serious information. So I give you an informed decision on what to do. So we are going to come together as young people, and then we're going to make sure we give direction 100% through this platform as well.
Danko. This platform is part of Soweto bafethu. Sesiyavaya thina siyahambe siyohlangana eParliament ngelinye lamalanga. Igama uKatlego Ntariyana Mula aka Mr. Soweto Kafela Matseba aka you already know Mr. Cool himself. Thanks for watching KOTA N CHILL. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Support it Dudula. Support Soweto Parliament. Support the Chief Nation.
But in simple, you must always remember Soweto country Soweto Commanders money.
Tango!